Hello and welcome to the updates from the Bullet Newsroom. My name is Kenneth Kwabena Amenyeke. Follow us on all our social media platforms on Facebook at Bullet TV Ghana, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and also find us on LinkedIn and give us a follow for more stories. Always log on to bullettvonline.com. We now make way for the day's other stories.
So proceedings in Parliament today started with the Government Assurance Committee sitting, where ministers of state and responsible for various sectors of the country are expected to appear to answer questions and give updates on issues happening in their sector. The first to mount the seat today is the Minister for the Interior, Muntaka Mohammed. He gave updates on works done by the Narcotic Commission of Ghana.
We are doing the best that we can. Some of the things that we're doing, for example, Mr. Chair, last year alone, we were able to seize 73 tainted assets. 73. 73. And, I mean, the cash frozen in millions. Prosecution is going on. And I want to take this opportunity again to thank the Chief Justice for his support, because we now have a dedicated court for the prosecution of narcotics and narcotics-related offences. With the help of the Chief Justice, we visited him, myself and the Director General. We make a passionate effort because we realized that before then, there were a lot of adjournment. They will risk their life, do all these arrests, and then when they get there, the persons are given bail, and then the adjournment just on and on and on. They get so frustrated, it takes too long. But by the grace of God and the help of the Chief Justice, today we have a dedicated court that we are using, and we are seeing a lot of improvement in terms of the prosecution.
Well, the minister said that one of the challenges that they face is that across the 16 regions of the country, the commission has offices in only 66 of the districts across the country. He said this is an enormous challenge the commission is facing.
All the 16 regions have offices of the Narcotics Control Commission, but unfortunately, out of the 261 MMDAs that we have, the district, municipal, and metropolitan assemblies that we have, we are operating only 66. 66 out of 261. And you will see that obviously the challenge is enormous.
But of course, the minister gave updates on some of the drug bans that the commission has undertaken over the past few months. He said that most of these drug bans is basically on intelligence-less basis.
The cultivation, what is it that you can cultivate and all that. All this engagement have been done. So, like I said, if someone wants to take advantage of saying that because now Ghana has legitimized the cultivation of industrial cannabis to cultivate the non-industrial, the people will tell you that he doesn't understand. But why is it that the person is hiding it? Because in some of the areas that you yourself alluded to, and when they heard our people are coming, they go and hide it in the shrine, thinking that they could use the shrine as a cover. And then when our men enter the shrine with their boot, then they say that we've designated the shrine. And I said, who designated the shrine? The one who went and hit the weed, and the one who went to get the weed. Who has really designated the shrine? If you go and hide arms in the mosque, and then the soldier has to be instructed to go in and get the arms, and truly he goes in and he finds the arms, they say that the soldier has designated the mosque. Who has designated the mosque? It is you who decided to go and hide your weapon, illicit weapon in the mosque that is designating the mosque.
On the recruitment exercise that was undertaken in the last year, he said that over 6,000 recruits or potential recruits for all services or potential service workers failed drug tests, and over 1,300 of them tested positive for HIV, a situation he said is a serious one.
Now we are developing a policy to cabinet, and if we get cabinet approval, what it means is that you can no longer join any public service unless you do mental and drug tests. And if the drug test proves positive, then you are out. And we started that with the current recruitment exercise that we are doing. And to shock you to know that over 6,000 people got disqualified only because they were on drugs or had mental issues. We had, I think, about 1,300 or so that were on HIV.
But the Minister for the Interior assured that all security agencies are working hard to ensure that this country is safe and all Ghanaians are secured.
We know the pivotal role that we play to ensure public safety in our country. So it's without doubt that as we wake up every morning, each and every one of us know the kind of responsibility that is bestowed upon us. And I want to assure the people of Ghana that our country is safe. We are doing all we can from all our agencies and the security agencies and even the non-security agencies to ensure that our country will continue to remain safe. Our hope is that every Ghanaian should be able to carry out his or her activities without having to bother himself or herself who is coming after them, whether it's in the day or in the night.
My name is Prince Kwame Kudoga for Bullet TV, Parliament House, Accra.
Honorable members, as earlier stated, I have received the advisory opinion on the bill from the Council of State. And I told you, this council advised against the passage of the bill, which meant that they differed from the earlier advice of the Council of State of the 8th Parliament, which had given Parliament the go-ahead to process and pass the bill. Honorable members, while the advice of the Council of State does not determine the legislative judgment of Parliament, it constitutes an important constitutional contribution to the deliberative process contemplated by the framers of the Constitution. As Speaker, it is not my role to determine the merits of the bill or to prejudge the conclusions that may ultimately be reached by the House, nor is it my role to substitute my judgment for that of the parliamentary committee that will be required to be guided by the advisory opinion in their report to the House. Given the significance of the constitutional issues raised by the Council of State, however, and the potential implications of those issues for Parliament's exercise of its amendment powers under Chapter 25 of the Constitution, I considered it useful to guide the committee and the House with my understanding and appreciation of the constitutional questions raised by the advice. Together with the advice of the Council of State, I submit my humble guidance in writing to the Committee on Constitutional and Legal Affairs Committee as to what and how to deliberate on the matter as attached. So, honorable members, my views will be submitted to the committee together with that of the advice of the Council of State.
Ghana has declined a request for a state visit by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa following growing concerns over xenophobic attacks targeting Ghanaian nationals and other African migrants in South Africa.
Sources at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs say the decision was influenced by the recent wave of anti-foreigner violence in parts of South Africa, which has triggered the repatriation of about 1,000 Ghanaians, with hundreds more reportedly awaiting evacuation. The tensions escalated further after a Ghanaian national was reportedly killed on June 30 during demonstrations by xenophobic groups against African migrants. The sources at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs say Ghana's decision was based on two key considerations: concerns over the safety and dignity of Ghanaian nationals in South Africa and possible security risks surrounding President Ramaphosa's visit A source at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs indicated that proceeding with such a high-level visit under the current circumstances would have been inappropriate given the concerns raised by Ghana over the treatment of its citizens. The source also confirmed the government's position, explaining that protecting Ghanaians abroad remains a priority.
There are a number of visits that a president can embark on to another country. So at the highest level is a state visit. So if this was supposed to be a state visit, I think that the timing is very wrong. Ghana-South African diplomatic relation, although still comparatively good, is not as strong as it should be. So this is not the right time to embark on a state visit. A state visit basically means that things are normal. These are strong ties and good times. So I'm not sure that given the current happening, looking at how the two foreign ministers have been going about this issue, this is the right time to do a state visit. So I think that if this is meant to be a state visit, that is asking too much of Ghana at this moment. They may consider a working visit, which is more targeted at resolving diplomatic challenges. I think if it's a working visit that we are rejecting, then maybe in as much as we are sending a signal, then you are missing an opportunity, because I believe that regardless of what is going on, we still need to cooperate with South Africa. For the fact that there are still Ghanaians who are there, for the fact that they are still South Africa is still in Africa, and we will still have to engage South Africa.
Now, to some more stories, the environmental advocacy groups are urging the government to grant the Etiwa Forest Reserve National Park status, warning that continued degradation poses a serious threat to water security, biodiversity, and climate resilience.
Addressing participants, coordinator of Eco-Conscious Citizens, Aula Sewa, says Ghana's shrinking forest cover is worsening environmental disasters, including the recent floods that devastated parts of Accra. According to her, healthy forests help absorb and regulate rainfall, reducing surface runoff and limiting the impact of flooding. She pointed to the June 29 floods, which claimed lives and caused extensive damage, as a stark reminder of the dangers of environmental degradation and poor protection of natural ecosystems.
So human behavior has contributed to what is going on. We built on our Ramsar sites. Ramsar sites are globally recognized. Nobody is supposed to build there. All wetlands should not be built on. The Peshi, for example, we built on it. So when it rained a few days ago, people in Chado, water came into their homes. Every so often, the government makes a show of we're going to destroy we're going to destroy illegal buildings. And then Ghanaians start complaining, and then they stop. The same Ghanaians who are complaining that there's been loss of life, there's been loss of property. But how would that not happen if you decide to build everywhere?
Ms. Sewa described the Etiwa Forest Reserve as one of Ghana's most important environmental assets, noting that it serves as the source of the Brim, Densu and Ayensu rivers, which provide water to more than 5 million people. She warned that despite being protected as a forest reserve for over a century, illegal mining and other human activities continue to threaten its biodiversity and vital water resources. She also called on the government to revoke Executive Instrument 144, which declassified portions of the Chimota Forest Reserve, and urged Ghanaians to support efforts to secure national park status for Etiwa.
We want Etiwa Forest Reserve to declare the national park to afford it greater protection. As a forest reserve, it doesn't have as much protection as when it's a national park. As we speak, there's illegal mining going on, and the once pristine Etiwa Forest is not as pristine as it should be. So once it's declared a national park, certain things step in. For example, wildlife has to go there. They are armed and they can deal with the illegal miners who are currently destroying the forest reserve.
Chief Executive Officer of the Forestry Commission, Dr. Hugh Brown, praised civil society groups for keeping environmental protection high on the national agenda. He said collaboration between government and advocacy groups remains crucial in safeguarding Ghana's forests for future generations.
Everybody to try and plant trees within their compounds and leave a lot of green spaces within our compounds, because when you leave green spaces, they're able to absorb water and there's reduced runoff. But when we concretize every space available, then the volume of water that runs off during such a heavy downpour is huge. And not many countries have what it takes to be able to control such floods.
The National Director of Arocha Ghana, Dr. Seth Apiakubi, described Ghana's forests as priceless national assets that require collective protection and responsible stewardship.
For the past 10 years, there have been concerted effort by civil society and other groups to call attention to the protection of Atiwa Forest because of its importance to the citizens of Ghana and also global importance as a public good. This program, which is by the Nature's Heartbeat, it's still bringing people together to raise voices.
The event concluded with a symbolic tree planting exercise to demonstrate participants' commitment to environmental conservation. An indigenous Etiwa tree seedling donated by the Forestry Commission was planted alongside 30 additional trees donated by Pipers Gym to mark the organization's 30th anniversary. Located in the eastern region, the Etiwa Forest Reserve is globally recognized for its rich biodiversity and is home to several rare and endangered species of plants, birds, butterflies, and amphibians.
We take a breather. We'll be back with business.
Special advisor on the 24-hour economy, Augustus Gusitano, has called for Ghana to accelerate its transition to renewable energy, arguing that the country's long-term economic growth depends on reducing its reliance on infinite natural resources. He was speaking at the 7th edition of the Ghana Investment and Trade Week Summit.
The Ghana that this power may make possible, a Ghana of 2035, 9 years from today. In this new Ghana, Kwewu Afram Plains, farmers and food companies in our agro-industrial parks will be turning cassava into industrial starch and tomato paste. At Kabonwele in the Otu region, an oil palm estate and mill will sustain some 120,000 livelihoods. Barges will carry grain and containers down the Volta Lake to the ports of the south, and electric trucks and buses will move people and goods on charged corridors. Cargo planes will lift fresh produce from Tamale into regional and European markets. Iron ore from Shani will leave Ghanaian mills as steel. And the people who work in this economy will live closer to their jobs in decent, energy-efficient homes built with Ghanaian materials. This is the Ghana of the future we're beginning to build now.
Also at the summit was the Gamanche King Takiteko Chu II, who called for support for the 24-hour economy policy.
We must champion job creation and youth employment. The success of the 24-hour economy depends on a skilled, disciplined, and motivated force or workforce. We must work closely with government and the private sector to promote skill development, vocational training, entrepreneurial skills within our communities. As has been wisely stated.
The 7th edition of the Ghana Investment and Trade Week Summit officially opened in Accra on Tuesday. The event is expected to support the implementation of Ghana's 24-hour economy initiative while addressing unemployment by attracting investment, stimulating industrial growth, and creating sustainable employment opportunities.
Let's take another breather. We'll be back with sports.
His comments come after Ghana's disappointing early exits from the ongoing 2026 World Cup, where the Black Stars reached the knockout stage for the first time since 2010 before suffering a 1-0 defeat to Colombia in the round of 32. He stressed that ministers have no mandate to choose players for the national team, explaining that such decisions are the responsibility of the technical team. According to him, the Ministry of Sports and Recreation's responsibility is to provide policy direction, support the development of the sector, and collaborate with Ghana Football Association on key administrative issues, including the appointment of the Black Stars coach. Mr. Adams maintained that once a coach is appointed, all technical decisions, including squad selections and team tactics, must remain within the coach's jurisdiction.
Time up is entertainment news. Ghanaian hip life musician Reggie Rockstone has revealed that he lost his personal vehicle to the devastating floods that swept through part of Accra on June 29, 2026, forcing him to rely on ride-hailing services for his daily commute.
Reggie Rockstone has taken to social media to show his fans that he is handling a difficult personal loss entirely in stride. The legendary music pioneer revealed that his Corolla S was completely destroyed by the rushing waters, leaving him with no choice but to entirely pivot his daily transportation plans. While his household still has one other functional vehicle, the godfather of hip life humorously admitted that he prefers not to share a ride with his wife for the sake of his own convenience and peace of mind. Instead, the icon joked that he is currently spending a lot of money on Ubers just to get around the capital. Moving forward, the veteran artist indicated that he intends to reach out to Sakji, the ride-hailing company owned by fellow musician Shatta Wale. Rockstone, who has previously served as a brand ambassador for the local platform, hopes to utilize the service to handle his temporary transit needs.
Let's now move beyond the shores of Ghana and do some international news.
Ukraine's president plans to use the NATO meeting in Turkey to urge Kyiv's allies to deliver the air defense system it urgently needs to protect it from escalating Russian attack. Vladimir Zelensky's call for help rings with extra intensity after Russian missiles rained down on the Ukrainian capital twice in less than a week, crashing into blocks of flats and killing more than 50 people. The summit in Ankara will also be a chance for Zelensky to hold a crucial meeting with Donald Trump and press home his case that Russia's brutal attacks are a show of weakness, not strength, and that Vladimir Putin should be pressured into talks toward a dignified peace.
So that will be all for the updates from the Bullet Newsroom, but always get interactive on all our social media platforms. On Facebook at Bullet TV Ghana, on X, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn as well. For more stories, always log on to bullettvonline.com. My name is Kenneth Amenyeke.